Okay, so we're just here at the end of Field Service Medical in the beautiful San Diego sunshine, and we're just coming to the end. It's a good time to catch up with Jonathan Massoud, Divisional Director at WBR. Jonathan, how's the event been for you? What's been the kind of the key talking points across the last 2.5 days?
Yeah, so we've had 3 days of full content. We kicked off a lot about this year in the medical device space, a lot about training. We had a couple of key panels on that, what to do for medical device organizations that are using third-party organizations. How do you keep the brand, the culture in mind? How do you manage expectations with sort of a contingent workforce or a third-party workforce representing the medical device brand? We had a great guest presenter, Thomas Landstreet, who did an hour-long talk on sort of the state of the healthcare industry, from an investment standpoint, what pressures would be coming down from new policy being implemented here in the States, and what service executives and OEMs can expect from the current legislation that is coming down, and how service executives can kind of prepare for that. That was a great talk. Thomas, owning the Standard Resource Corporation, does a lot of work and analysis in the medical device space, so it was great having him kick off. We've seen some key talks from Medtronic and some of the innovative things they're doing there in service. So a number of touch points that were big in research and leading up to the event that we had here that I think led for some really good discussion.
Sure, and how's the industry evolved since 12 months ago? Just over when we were here last. Obviously there's some pain points that were brought up this time last year. Have people been addressing those? Have you seen the conversation shifting across at all?
Yeah, in terms of, I think, what every industry is looking at right now, Internet of Things, connected devices, medical device space here at Field Service, this show particularly, and the medical device vertical has been a bit more, I guess, sort of leading the pack with a lot of that, and some of the changes, I guess that's as a result of patient experience and how medical devices can play into that. What we've seen, though, I think really progress in the past 12 months is the solution providers that we have here in our exhibit hall. Companies going after new medical device verticals and providing VR solutions, augmented reality. Companies like Help Lightning still doing great work for field service reps. They were voted best exhibit on our Oscar night, but we also had AMA Expert Eye, who ties their solution into Google Glass, and some of the things that are coming up with technicians and tools in that space. I think last year it was a lot of talk, kind of making the business case for it, but on the second day of the show yesterday, we had some talks about what are the next steps in getting some of these things implemented, and seeing those companies in the exhibit hall. Last year, we were a little bit void of those solutions, companies, and I think we're starting to understand what companies are offering those types of solutions for medical device, and we're seeing that in the exhibit hall here.
Sure. The Toolbox Talks series of roundtables have been another successful element to the mix here at Field Service Medical. What's the real kind of value for both the delegates and the guys that are hosting those roundtables? What separates these from like your standard network circles?
Yeah, the Toolbox Talks is something that we've kind of evolved for the past 4 or 5 years here at Field Service. They go over really well, and obviously a beautiful setting like this, people like to come outside and have talks, but the value for the primary the attendees is that they're getting FaceTime, informal FaceTime with the actual presenters and some of the innovators in this space, so they can ask their questions, whereas in a big general session format, some people are shy, don't want to ask questions. They have an opportunity to sort of take a deep dive into specific topics, and that's kind of how we build the Toolbox Talks around. But for the moderators that host them themselves, it's a great way to sort of sanity check either what your competition is doing or what other companies and similar verticals are doing, where their caught-ups and hang-ups are. So advancing that together, advancing service together, which is also one of our big themes here. But it's a benchmarking opportunity, a sanity check opportunity that maybe in a sort of big on-stage format wouldn't really lend itself to getting as much information, being as candid as possible with speakers and like companies. So they go over really well. So we've added a bit more time to those this year.
Sure. And that's probably one of the real key USPs here at Field Service Medical. It's essentially a niche within a niche, and there's a real great community feel. Obviously, the next event that's coming up is the bigger event. We're talking about Field Service USA, which is now 4 or 5 weeks away.
4 or 5 weeks out.
What can we expect from Field Service USA this year?
A lot of interactivity. Our teams are working overtime on a lot of sort of side events going on next to sort of our main session that we'll have. So a quick preview is we'll be having our 20 Years of Service Club, which is sort of an annual get-together now of the most senior level people in service. We'll be having our service awards as well. We're bringing back the Field Service Awards. There's 3 categories where we're nominating OEMs on best service technology implementation, best service group achievement, and most innovative service solution strategy. So we'll be having the service awards. We'll have creative boardrooms for specific sectors. One thing we see at field service is not all service organizations have the same resources, same bandwidth, same model, same product. So we've broken off each of the categories and sort of delegates that we have attend, and we'll be doing sort of exclusive creative boardrooms where they'll have a chance to go behind closed doors, talk about how their specific group deals with challenges in service. So we'll be having those. A great guest speaker as well is going to be joining us. He's a doctor, an astronaut, an explorer. He's one of those guys that make you feel like you haven't achieved enough, but he's going to be doing an hour-long talk. He's actually, in a sense, he's a space field service technician.
Fantastic. So really taking the next frontier of field service. Yeah,
exactly. So he's going to be sharing some very interesting stories to kick off one of our main days there in Palm Springs.
Excellent. Well, Jonathan, it's been a great event. Thank you very much for talking to us, and we'll see you in Palm Springs.
Cheers.
Cheers. Thank you.
Thank you.